My Hero Academia Season 3, Episode 16, titled Shiketsu High Lurking. Very ominous title there. Opens up with Joke and Aizawa, discussing the fact that, you know, time is kind of against the students here. A lot of them will be rushing to try to finish within the top 100, and that might cause them to be a little bit sloppy, but will also weed out a lot of the people who aren't really able to cut the mustard, more or less. Um, they notice the fact that a lot of the other students notice that Class 1A has managed to hold off their collective attack from the crushing of UA, which Miss Joke had noticed. And so we have Shikiyu Makebi, who has the ability to harden objects. Insert jokes here. Ha 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 ha. But organic objects. He's able to harden any kind of object that he, just holds in his hand or even brushes against to a certain degree. And then he has Itajiro Toteki use his ability in order to launch the balls from angles that the students will class 1A will be unable to actually dodge or move against. How specifically from underground. However, Jiro uses her new equipment in order to send out reverberation into the ground, causing it to disrupt the trajectory of the balls. And the balls come out of the earth and head for Mineta, only for Mina to use her new signature technique, Acid Veil, in order to burn them up. Um, Tokoyami sees an opening and uses Dark Shadow and his specific ability, Black Ankh, or Black Abyss, depending on how you call it, in order to, send out an attack. Deku also knows that it's easier to say and cooler too. Thank you, Deku. Um, he sends it at a specific student only for her to dodge using her quirk, Telescopy. It's Tatame Nakagame, who has the ability to withdraw herself into her own body, much like a turtle shell. This was disgusting in the manga, and is even more disgusting with animation and sound effects. And that's all I have to say on the matter. I'm sorry, kid. I'm sure you're a lovely girl and all of that, but your quirk is nasty. It fucking nasty. He's like, you're cute, but you're nasty. Um, Yukimura Mera announces that no examinees have actually been eliminated so far, and basically, he tells the kids to get cracking. I want to take a fucking nap. Um, Izuku notes that fact that everyone has basically been trying to, protect their targets, not to let off how much wow their quirks were. Everyone's just in a wait and see kind of holding position at the moment, and actually getting a lucky hit in is pretty unlikely. So soon everything will start ramping out as people start to get bolder in their attacks. Miss Joke tells Aizawa that um, his class shouldn't look down upon people who have put in hard work and training in order to get this far. And should they be unable to, adapt quickly, everyone in the leading role will start to kind of be taken down a peg. Yoshindo uses his quirk and tremoring earth. Well, his signature move of his quirk, which is vibrations, in order to cause a massive earth tremor. His signature move, tremoring earth. The only downside to this ability is the fact that how depending on how much vibrations he sends out, it kind of reverberates back onto him and damages him to a certain degree. So, an interesting drawback to such a power. But he unleashes this powerful quake that causes Class 1A to lose their footing and get separated. Meanwhile, um, uh, ah, Todoroki is feels the tremors from where he is at, and starts to realize that, people will start getting eliminated now. A lot of students are starting to go all out in their attacks. Speaking of which, at a also nearby location, you see a massive whirlwind start to lift all the balls from the students below, and you find out that the one making this whirlwind is Anase Yorashi, who has the ability of wind. He's a freaking windbag, basically. And he looks like friggin' M. Bison. That's the one thing I never got about his uniform, because he looks like a supervillain. I'm sorry, bro. You look like a supervillain. And thus he unleashes a massive torrent of balls upon the unsuspecting students below, eliminating 120 people in the process. This dude is a beast. Airbenders for life. Meanwhile, Izuku starts to analyze the situation, noting that Ketsubutsu Academy probably had meant for this to happen in order to pick them off one by one. He tries to he tries to look around for someone to team up with so that they'll be able to, watch his back and all that. Having someone with you who can, make up for what you lack is a very good way to go. However, despite the advantage, Azuku notes that he feels a little bit excited about what's going on. It's very thrilling and all that good stuff. However, this bit of excitement is cut short by a female student coming out of nowhere and hitting one of his targets with a ball. This student is Cami from the same school as Inasi. Uh, God, I'm already forgetting the name of the school, but Shiketsu. There we go, Shiketsu. But she has come in order to, take out Deku, and notes that it's kind of weird that he's smiling in such a dire situation, and finds it pretty interesting overall. Meanwhile, Kami launches a few volleys at Deku's targets, though he manages to easily avoid them, only for Kami to disappear from Deku's line of sight, enter his blind spot, and try again to nail him. But Deku's reflexes, using One for All, are just too fast for her to, get a solid attack in on. Deku once again goes for a throw, but Kami is once again in his blind spot, leaving Deku to wonder if that is her quirk, just being able to get out of his line of sight. Kami manages to subdue Deku and notes that it's not her quirk, it is simply training. And it's just basically, it's all skill, years of experience, and capabilities. Kami, holding Deku to the ground, also has a bit of a familiar kind of obsession with wanting to know more about Deku and why he is the way he is. Deku, however, unleashes a, one for all, basically full cowling in order to break Kami's hold. However, their little meeting is interrupted by the other students who have come in order to, crush UA yet again. Deku, in a very interesting display of agility and speed, manages to dodge all of their attacks and is met by Ochako, who calls out to him. However, this draws the attention of various villains nearby, hey, who go on the attack. Um, Uraka is knocked from her, um, you know, little hiding place, more or less. And Deku has a moment where he thinks back to everything that led up to All Might's eventual loss of One for All. And he goes on the, goes in to rescue Uraraka, not wanting to see someone hurt again because he was not fast enough. Deku then uses his shoot style in order to launch a kind of attack underground to break the footing of a lot of the other students. He Uraraka is kind of mesmerized by this moment, and Deku makes a swift retreat and goes into hiding. Uraraka apologizes for not, basically messing up there, and Deku tells her not to worry about it, that he understands and he's just glad she's safe. Uraraka blushes very sweetly about this whole situation and then proceeds to target Deku's target with one of the balls. Deku notices this immediately and smacks it out of her hand. When Uraraka questions this, Deku notes that Uraraka would never be so irresponsible to not only um, call out her position so irresponsibly and call attention to herself, but also the fact that it's weird that she didn't use her quirk to just float instead of falling to her doom. We come to find out that this is actually Cammy in disguise, and that her quirk is apparently being able to, replicate other people's appearances. However, she does question why Deku went in for the save, despite the fact that he, is so sure of himself. Deku notes that he couldn't possibly let her just, fall and hurt herself, knowing that it wasn't Uraraka. We are also treated to the fact that Cammy is very much naked and not wearing anything under her, little disguise, which is probably also part of her quirk, not being able to wear anything when she does disguise herself. However, this kind of causes none of the targets to be on her body or anything like that. And Izuku is very much caught off guard, having never seen a naked girl before. We also have this weird coloring on her body, which I think will be more than likely removed in the Blu-ray version. Sometimes animation companies will do this because it's just like, this is released in a time slot for younger audiences, and having a fully implied nude girl is just kind of like, oh no, just at least make it look like she has a bodysuit on. Cammy then goes in for the attack, scratching Deku's face. This is a bit of catches Deku off guard because it's so forceful. Um, Deku is then kind of saved by all the tape that is dispensed by Sero, coming in and kind of envying Deku's situation with a nude female. Uraraka then also comes in, the real Uraraka, in order to kind of capture Cammy, but Cammy is immediately able to dodge out of the way. Um, Cammy then notes the fact that she laments the fact that she was unable to really talk to Deku all that long, and also notes with a very crazed look in her eye for the most part that Deku has a lot of trust in Uraraka, which it's obvious Cammy finds it enviable. She then beats feet right out of there, and Deku kind of notes that they probably shouldn't go after her, as it'll yield nothing. Because of her quirk, she has no targets on her, and with no targets on her, there's really no point. They won't gain anything from going after her. The three then decide to team up in order to, hopefully manage to, get in a few shots in order to pass the exam. Um, it's noted that already up to 58 students have already passed the exam. That's more than half the necessary requirement. We also are treated to Todoroki having a run in with a group of unnamed assailants. I'm pretty sure this is a filler moment, as I don't remember any kind of moment like this, coming up. I think we saw the aftermath of this battle later on in the manga, but he is met up by these Power Ranger Ninja Storm looking dudes who immediately go on the offensive. Todoroki uses a ice wall in order to block all of their shots and then freezes with coordinated precision their feet. However, the main leader in red has a quirk that allows him to enlarge inorganic objects, which immediately start to kind of crash into Todoroki's ice wall. And Todoroki is unwilling to go all out, as it would create even more of an opening for them to attack, and he doesn't want to exhaust himself on top of that. He also tries to burn their attacks, but the main leader notes that all of his stuff is tungsten, which has, takes longer to actually burn. The dude then frees his comrades and notes that Shoto coming off by himself was very ill advised and shows just how overconfident he is. Todoroki is in a bit of a pinch. And that ends the episode. A lot has happened in this episode. I think this covered like 3 friggin' chapters, which they are just burning through certain elements. But it's also interesting that they put filler where an actual battle should be. That's the best kind of filler. I don't like stuff that just pads out a moment just, to have more talking. It's just like, no, put in stuff that we know happened, but it happened off screen. That way we can actually get a little more action in before things end. If you're going to give me filler, at least give me interesting enough filler. And I love it when animation studios jump in and just have a kind of off panel in the manga situation happen in the anime. It gives, anime watchers a little bit of a treat on the side. But Cammy was a very interesting character. And you'll note that it seems like Deku seems to be getting all the ladies, and more than anything else, all the excessive ladies. Kid just can't catch a break. But tell me your thoughts on Cammy. What did you think of her quirk, her abilities, and her techniques? Manga readers, don't spoil anything. What do you think about the odds of everyone coming out on this? What did you think of Inase's insane airbending skills? Shindo's vibration abilities, kind of like Richter from the X-Men. Very cool, very cool. And do you think these guys will be any match for Todoroki? He's in a bit of a bind as well. So, the action is kind of ramping up. It's getting a little bit more interesting. This definitely puts a interesting twist on, that whole situation. It's just like, well, what could possibly happen? How strong are a lot of these newly introduced characters? Lots of interesting quirks being put on display here. But hey, tell me your thoughts in the comments below, and leave me a like if you liked what I had to say about this episode, I should say, or leave me a dislike if you didn't like how long I babbled on in this review. And subscribe for more My Hero Academia. Thanks for joining me.